At dinner, my husband announced, "Your money is our money." Owen says it with his fork still in his hand, a piece of salmon balanced on the tines. His mother watches me from across the table. "What money?" I ask, although my bank app is open under my napkin and I already know. "The 78, he says. I transferred it to Mom. Diane's mouth tightens, but Owen keeps talking. "You weren't using it yet." "It's my partnership money. It's our future either way." 20 minutes later, Diane stands in our glass foyer, pockets her phone, and thanks him. She takes her spare key from the blue bowl on the console and leaves without looking at me. At 11:43 that night, she secretly sends me the transfer receipt. "Owen told me you approved this," her message says. "I won't be blamed for what he did." I open the attachment and read the account name twice. Hale House Member Capital. Diane Hale/Owen Hale. My savings hadn't rescued his mother. They had purchased my husband a piece of her house. I sit on the edge of our bed with the phone lighting my hands. Owen is in the bathroom brushing his teeth. The electric toothbrush rattles against the side of the sink because he has a habit of setting it down while it's still running. "Did you use my phone?" I ask. The toothbrush stops. "What?" "To transfer the money." He appears in the bathroom doorway, shirtless, a white towel around his neck. "Claire, can we please not start this again at midnight?" We never finished it. We talked for an hour. You talked. Your mother ate my potatoes. That almost gets a smile from him. Almost. For years, humor has been the small door we crawl through after a fight, each of us pretending we happen to meet on the other side. Tonight, he studies my face and decides the door is locked. "She barely touched dinner," he says. "She took the potatoes home." They would have gone bad. They were cooked this afternoon. He lets out a breath and rubs the towel over his hair. This is what you do. You grab onto some tiny, stupid detail so you don't have to look at the whole situation. I turn the phone toward him. The receipt fills the screen. His name is there beneath his mother's, clean and black and official. For one strange second, Owen looks younger, not innocent, caught. Then his face settles. "She sent you that?" "That's your question?" "She had no business sending you account documents. My money is the account document. It isn't her receipt to share." I look at him. "You just said it was her account." "You know what I mean." I do. I know exactly what he means, which is that everything belongs to the family until information becomes inconvenient. Then suddenly, ownership matters. He walks into the bedroom, pulls open his dresser, and takes out an old gray t-shirt. It is from the first Hale House cleanup weekend, when the property still smelled like wet plaster and dead flies. Hale House. A new tradition is printed across the back in a font I told Diane looked like a funeral program. She ordered 60 shirts anyway. "You told me the money was for contractors," I say. "It is. The receipt calls it a capital contribution. That's how the accountant wanted it categorized. Why? Because it makes the refinancing cleaner. And why is your name on the account?" He pushes his head through the shirt. "Because I'm handling the project. You're buying equity. I'm protecting what I'm putting in. You're putting in my money." He tugs the shirt down too hard. The collar catches briefly under his chin. There it is again. "What? My money? My account? My partnership? My deadline? You've been married for 7 years, Claire, and you still talk like you're renting a room." The insult lands because it has enough history in it to sound true. When we bought the townhouse, I supplied most of the down payment. Owen had just started Hale Residential, and 2 clients were 3 months late paying him. We agreed the title would be in both names because we were married and building something together. When I opened the separate savings account 2 years later, he teased me for naming it Partnership Buy-In, but he also brought home champagne when the balance passed $20,000. He knew what every dollar was for. 11 days from now, I was supposed to wire the full amount to Keene Row Architecture. In return, I would receive a small ownership share, a vote on projects, and my name on the firm's insurance and contracts. Nothing glamorous would happen that day. Mei Chen from finance would send me 6 PDFs. I would sign them. Someone would probably buy grocery store cupcakes for the break room. I had wanted it for 12 years. Owen sits on his side of the bed. You would still have a job without the buy-in, he says. Your mother would still have a house without a wedding venue. She would lose everything she's put into it. So I lose everything I've put into my future instead? It's temporary. Then why didn't you ask? His jaw shifts. Because I knew you'd say no. There it is. Not a misunderstanding. Not an emergency so fast and terrible that he acted before he could call me. He knew the boundary, weighed it, and decided it did not apply to him. I looked down at the receipt again. The transfer was initiated at 2:16 Monday afternoon, while I was presenting revised plans for the Benton Street Hotel. Owen had texted me at 2:19. How's my brilliant wife? I had sent back a heart from under the conference table. How did you get into the account? You've logged in from the home computer. That computer doesn't remember the password. You gave it to me last year. For the townhouse escrow refund, you said you deleted it. I forgot. You forgot to delete it for 9 months, then remembered it exactly when your mother needed $78,000. He stands again. I'm not doing an interrogation. No, apparently you're doing banking. He grabs his pillow. Where are you going? Guest room. You're leaving because I'm upset that you stole from me. I did not steal from you. His voice rises for the first time, then drops just as quickly. Owen is good at controlling volume. It lets him say cruel things in the tone of a reasonable man. I moved marital funds into a family investment that will benefit both of us. My name isn't on that account. It doesn't need to be. Yours does? I'm the one doing the work. I laugh once. The sound surprises both of us. For 18 months, I had reviewed contractor bids at our kitchen island. I had corrected measurements on the ballroom drawings after Owen ordered windows from an outdated plan. I had spent 3 Sunday mornings at Hale House labeling electrical panels because Diane did not trust those people to know which sconces she meant. I'd built the budget that convinced the bank the venue could make money. Owen had introduced me to the lender as his wife, Claire, who was good with details. What's funny? He asks. Nothing. No, say it. You're right. You're the one doing the work. His eyes narrow. He waits for the rest, but I don't give it to him. He leaves with the pillow. At the door, he stops. Mom is selling the back acreage after the refinance, he says. You'll have all of it back in 6 weeks. Is that written anywhere? She gave me her word. Diane also gave me the receipt. That hurts him. I can tell because he becomes gentle. My mother is scared, he says. She's under pressure and she's covering herself. Don't turn that into something uglier than it is. He closes the door. The room feels abruptly oversized. Owen's water glass is still on his nightstand. His paperback lies open face down beside it, something he knows I hate because it breaks the spine. Ordinary evidence of a person who expects to come back. I study Diane's message. Owen told me you approved this. Not I thought you approved. Not did you approve? She has chosen her sentence carefully. I type, why did you accept it? The 3 dots appear almost at once, then vanish. I wait. Nothing. I call her. She declines the call after 2 rings. Another message arrives. You and Owen need to discuss your marriage. Please leave me out of it. I stare at that until my eyes blur. Then I type, return the money and you're out of it. She does not answer. The bank's fraud number is printed beneath my debit card, but the savings account doesn't have a card. I find the number in the app and call anyway. A recorded voice tells me my wait may exceed 45 minutes. I put the phone on speaker and carry it downstairs. Our townhouse is narrow, 3 stories stacked behind a wall of glass. Owen fell in love with the foyer before we saw the kitchen. At night, the panes turn reflective. I can see myself walking toward the console table as if another woman is approaching from outside. The blue bowl sits where it always has. We bought it at a street fair 3 weeks after moving into our first apartment. It was too expensive for us then, $45 for a shallow piece of blown glass with tiny bubbles trapped around the rim. Owen held it up to the sun and said it looked like water that had learned to stay still. Every home we shared afterward began with that bowl near the door. My keys and Owen's are inside now, tangled together. Diane's key is gone. I open the smart lock app. Her name appears beneath ours. Diane, permanent access. Owen had given her a weekend code when Hale House's plumbing failed last winter. Permanent access was his later improvement. He never mentioned it, and I pretended not to mind because Diane watered our plants when we traveled and once waited 6 hours for a furnace technician who never came. The bank music loops in my hand. I press Diane's name. The app asks if I am sure I want to revoke access. Underneath, in smaller letters, it warns that all account administrators will receive a notification. I am not ready for Owen to know what I'm doing. That thought makes me stop. Until this moment, I have been waiting for him to realize how badly he has hurt me. I have imagined him coming back upstairs, sitting beside me and saying the correct sequence of words. I was afraid. I was wrong. I'll fix it. Instead, he is asleep one floor below, secure in the belief that the morning will make me easier to manage. The bank music cuts off. A woman says, "Thank you for calling North Coast Financial. My name is Renee. May I have your full name?" I give it to her. She verifies my address, birth date, and the last 4 digits of the account. Her voice is warm but practiced, sympathy rationed in exact spoonfuls. "I'm showing the transfer," she says, $78,000 to an external business account. I didn't authorize it. There was a pause filled with keyboard tapping. Was your login information shared with anyone? My husband had an old password. I didn't know he kept it. Did he have access to the verification device? I look toward the charging shelf in the kitchen. My old phone sits there between a flashlight and a roll of painter's tape. I keep it for music at job sites. Owen knows the passcode. Yes, more typing. I need to be transparent with you, Renee says, because the transfer was completed from a recognized device using your credentials and 2-step verification. The investigation may take time. Do you know the recipient? Yes. What is your relationship to the recipient? My mother-in-law. Another small pause. And she has confirmed receipt of the funds? I glance at the attachment Diane sent me. She sent me the transfer receipt. Renee's tone changes, not dramatically, but enough. Please preserve that communication. Don't edit the image or forward only a screenshot. Keep the original message and attachment. What happens now? I'll lock external transfers and create a case. You should change your online credentials immediately. If anyone else has administrative access to related accounts, review that as well. Related accounts. The phrase widens something in my mind. Our joint checking, the home equity line, Hale Residential's bookkeeping portal, where I still have access because Owen has never learned to reconcile a deposit, the Hale House budget, the vendor folder, the lender package with my forecasts attached. I thank Renee and write down the case number on the back of an unopened envelope from Diane's tile supplier. Before I go upstairs, I change every password that belongs only to me. Then I return to the Smart Lock app. Diane, permanent access. I press revoke. This time, I do not hesitate. Somewhere in the guest room, Owen's phone chimes. I lift my keys from the blue glass bowl and carry them upstairs with me. Owen's footsteps hit the stairs before I reach the bedroom. Did you just revoke my mother's code? He comes through the door carrying his pillow under one arm. His hair sticks up on the left side and there is a crease across his cheek. Yes, it's midnight. I noticed. She's going to think we're punishing her. I am removing her access to my home. Our home. Great. Then one of us removed her access. He drops the pillow on the bed. You can't make decisions like that by yourself. I wait to see if he hears it. He doesn't. I reported the transfer, I say. All the sleep leaves his face. To who? The bank. Claire. They opened an investigation. You told them what? That someone accessed my account without permission and transferred $78,000. I'm not someone. I'm your husband. I gave them your name. He stares at me, his lips parted slightly. I have seen Owen furious at contractors, clients, and one dishwasher that leaked across a newly installed oak floor. His anger usually arrives as motion: a slammed cabinet, a fast walk around the block. This time, he goes completely still. You need to call them back. No. You have no idea what you just set in motion. I know exactly what I set in motion. A review of a transfer I didn't authorize. They could freeze Mom's account. That would be useful. She has invoices clearing this week. Then she shouldn't have funded them with stolen money. He flinches at the word again. You're going to destroy the refinance over a delay, he says. Do you understand that? The lender sees a fraud complaint connected to the capital account. They walk. The money isn't capital. It is now. No, it's evidence. He looks at my phone as though he might take it. The thought crosses both our minds at the same time. I close my fingers around it. Owen turns away. Diane has the original message too, I say. So don't ask her to delete it. His head snaps back. I wasn't going to. You were thinking about my phone. I was thinking that I don't recognize you right now. That makes two of us. He sleeps in the guest room after all. I know he isn't sleeping because a bar of light remains under the door until almost 4. Twice I hear him speaking quietly, but I can't make out the words. At 6:30, the smell of coffee wakes me. Owen is at the kitchen counter in yesterday's jeans, measuring grounds into the machine with the concentration of a chemist. He uses too much. He always uses too much, and I usually come behind him and level the scoop. I open the cabinet for a mug. I talked to Mom, he says. I assumed. She thought you knew. She wrote that you told her I approved. That's what I mean. No, it isn't. He pours water into the reservoir. We talked about helping her. We talked about helping her choose cheaper flooring. We talked about the whole project. You said she needed $20,000 to finish the downstairs bathrooms. I said we could look at our budget after my partnership payment. You didn't say no. I didn't know I was being asked for $78,000. He presses the brew button. The machine gurgles, then stops. He lifts the lid and adjusts the filter. Mom has offered to sign a repayment schedule, he says. From what income? The venue. The venue that isn't open. It will be. If it refinances. It will, unless my wife tells the bank I'm a criminal. The machine spits coffee onto the hot plate. Owen shoves the pot into place. Brown drops hiss under it. I didn't call you a criminal. You used the word fraud. The bank used the word fraud. He wipes the hot plate with a dish towel while it is still on, jerking his hand back when the fabric steams. Call them, he says. Tell them it was a marital misunderstanding. I'll have Mom sign whatever makes you comfortable. Transfer it back. She can't. Why? Some of it has already been dispersed. The kitchen gets very quiet. How much? I don't know exactly. You're on the account. That doesn't mean I monitor it every hour. How much, Owen? He reaches for his phone. I'll check. You knew enough to tell me there were invoices clearing. I knew the schedule. He taps through several screens, angling the phone away without seeming to. 22 went to Brenner Electric yesterday, 14.5 to the flooring supplier. The rest is there. Send the rest back now. That would trigger a default on the contractor's schedule. Not my problem. It becomes our problem when they lien the property. It's not our property. It will be. Your property. He sets the phone face down. If you want to keep drawing lines down the center of our marriage, eventually you're going to cut it in half. I pour coffee. It is nearly black. Did you come up with that? I ask. Or did your mother? His face hardens. I take my mug upstairs. At Keene Row, the hotel model is waiting on my drafting table with a section of its roof removed. Someone from the interiors team has placed a tiny plastic goose in the open courtyard. Nobody admits to owning the goose. It has been migrating through our models for 3 years, appearing in conference rooms, rooftop gardens, and once in the miniature loading dock of a cancer center. Today it is wearing a paper crown. I move it beside the scale fountain and try to work. The Benton Street revisions require 6 inches of mechanical clearance we do not have. I stare at the same ceiling section until the lines stop meaning anything. At 10, Mei Chen walks past my desk, turns around, and comes back. You look like you've been awake since the invention of concrete. I'm having a morning. Is it contagious? Only through marriage. She studies me, then pulls over the empty chair from Jonah's desk. May handles finance for the firm and treats gossip the way she treats expense reports, mildly distasteful, occasionally necessary. What do you need? She asks. The directness nearly undoes me. I may have a problem with the partnership wire. How much of a problem? All of it. Her eyebrows rise, but she does not ask where the money went. Timing or availability? Both. The agreements specify the funding date. I know. Can you replace it from another account? No. Borrow against something? The townhouse has equity, but Owen would have to cooperate. The idea of asking him makes my stomach tighten. Not in 11 days. May looks toward the glass conference room where Tessa Keene is meeting with 2 consultants. I can ask for an extension. How long? Realistically, a week? Maybe 2. I'd need 6. That's harder. Meaning impossible? Meaning it becomes a partner vote, and there's another candidate who can fund now. I know who she means. Garrett Vale has been with the firm 9 years, 2 fewer than I have, and brings in hospital work. He is competent, pleasant, and rich in the quiet way of someone who has never needed to discuss liquidity. I'm not asking for special treatment, I say. Yes, you are. I look at her. May's expression softens. That isn't always shameful, Claire. I need a day before you tell Tessa. I can give you a day. She stands, then picks up the crowned goose. I'm taking this as collateral. For what? Your sense of humor. I expect repayment. After she leaves, I open the Hale House budget on my computer. I created it during a rainy weekend in March, after Diane called Owen crying because 3 vendors had submitted change orders at once. The workbook tracks every fixture, chair, permit, and linen deposit. Diane's preferred tableware has its own color-coded tab because she changed it 6 times. The latest version was edited at 1:08 that morning. Owen had added my transfer to the capital summary and entered it under his name. Owen Hale, member contribution, $78,000. I take a screenshot, then save a copy of the file and its version history to my personal drive. The lender package sits in the neighboring folder. My cash flow forecasts are attached behind a cover letter from Owen describing me as Project Financial Advisor. I never agreed to that title. I produced the forecast to show Diane how much she would need to charge per event, and how quickly winter bookings fell apart if she counted the garden as year-round space. An email from the lender is open in the correspondence folder. Owen, excellent news on the equity injection. Once Claire provides the acknowledgement letter, we should be positioned to clear the final condition. I read it 3 times. There is no letter attached. I call Owen. He answers with machinery roaring behind him. Can I call you back? What acknowledgement letter? The machinery recedes. A door shuts. Where are you? At the McAllister job. What letter? It's a standard lender document. What does it acknowledge? That the contribution is from family funds. You told the bank my money was yours. I told them it came from our household. Send me the letter. I was going to explain it tonight. Send it now. He is silent. Owen, you're digging through project files while I'm trying to keep everything together. They're files I built. That doesn't give you permission to interfere. The word permission comes out of him without irony. Send me the letter. He hangs up. It arrives 4 minutes later. The document is 1 page. It states that I know about the transfer, consent to its use as permanent member capital, and make no claim against Hale House for repayment. Beneath that is a blank signature line with my name already typed under it. I forward the email and document to my personal account. Then I write to the lender. My financial forecasts for Hale House were prepared informally for Diane Hale's planning purposes. I am not the project's financial advisor and do not authorize any representation that I have approved a capital contribution. Funds transferred from my individual savings account are currently disputed with my bank. I read the message once before sending it. The tiny arrow disappears. My hands start shaking afterward. At lunch, Diane calls. "You contacted the lender. Not hello. Not how are you?" Yes. They contacted Owen, who contacted me. That sounds efficient. You're jeopardizing a property I've owned for 26 years. You jeopardized it when you spent money that wasn't yours. I spent $22,000. The flooring payment can still be stopped. Then stop it. And leave the ballroom unfinished? Yes. She breathes into the phone. I can hear the faint echo of Hale House around her, that particular emptiness of large rooms without furniture. I sent you the receipt because I believed you had a right to know how Owen structured it, she says. I did not send it so you could burn down everything around us. You wanted protection. I wanted honesty. You kept the money. I have obligations. So do I. You still have your career, Claire. For a moment, I cannot speak. Diane mistakes the silence for movement. The venue can repay you, she says. Not in 11 days, obviously, but Owen tells me the firm will work with you. Owen doesn't work at my firm. He knows you're valuable. He knew my deadline, too. You are making this about whether he asked correctly. Correctly? Men like Owen solve the crisis in front of them. Sometimes they don't think through the feelings until later. He thought through the account structure. She goes quiet. I'm not reviewing another invoice, I say. I'm not calling another vendor. I'm not fixing another drawing or budget. Take my name off the lender package. You can't abandon the project this close to opening. I just did. Diane's voice loses its polish. After everything I've done for you, what have you done for me? The question is too blunt. We both feel it. She answers softly. I made you part of this family. I look through the office window at the city, all brick walls and rooftop equipment. No, I say. You gave me a key. When I get home, Diane's sedan is parked at the curb. The front door opens before I reach it. She steps into the glass foyer carrying a thick folder against her chest. She has changed clothes since morning and put on lipstick. I need you to look at one thing, she says. You can email it. It will take 5 minutes. She drops her keys into the blue bowl. The sound rings through the foyer. I look at the lock panel. Her permanent access is active again. Owen appears behind her. I restored the code. We're not locking family out because of a fight. Diane walks toward the dining room as if invited. I follow them inside but remain standing. Owen has spread documents across the table. The acknowledgement letter rests on top beside a pen. Sign this, he says, and Mom will sign a repayment agreement with you. A repayment agreement funded by the venue? Yes. That can't open without the refinance, which can't happen without your signature. Diane places her folder beside the letter. This protects everyone, except me. It protects your marriage, she says. I look at Owen. Is that what you think this does? He pulls out a chair for me. I stay where I am. His patience finally cracks. What do you want, Claire? You want me to apologize? Fine. I'm sorry I didn't ask. I'm sorry I moved money we both benefit from. I'm sorry my mother's emergency happened during your special career moment. Diane closes her eyes briefly. There are apologies that repair something, and apologies designed to invoice you for receiving them. I'm not signing, I say. Owen slides the pen back into his pocket. Then I have to protect what's left. My phone vibrates. Low balance alert. Joint checking. I open the banking app. Our balance has dropped from $12,640 to $1,200. The transfer line says, Hale Residential Operating. You emptied the account. I moved business money back to the business. My salary went into that account yesterday. So did my deposits for 6 years. Diane begins gathering her papers, suddenly fascinated by their edges. I walk toward the home office. The brass knob turns, but the door does not open. A new black keypad has been mounted above it. Owen. Project records stay private until this dispute is resolved. My name is on half this house, and you still have access to half of it. Behind me, Diane lifts her keys from the blue bowl. She does not thank either of us this time. The front door closes behind Diane. Owen gathers the documents from the dining table, stacking their corners with both palms. What's the code? He doesn't look up. I'm not giving you access to project files while you're trying to sabotage the project. The office also has our tax returns, the townhouse closing documents, and my passport. I'll get you whatever personal items you need. You don't get to inventory my life for me. He carries the stack toward the office. There's $1,200 in checking. The mortgage is paid. Utilities are covered. You're acting like I left you stranded. You moved my salary. You froze my mother's account. I disputed my money. He punches the code into the new keypad with his body blocking my view. I'll redirect my paycheck tomorrow, I say. Do what you need to do. He enters the office and shuts the door. The lock beeps. I stand in the hallway listening to him move papers around. 6 hours ago, I believed the worst thing Owen had done was take my savings. Now I understand the money only made visible a system that had been operating quietly for years. He could decide what counted as ours, what counted as his, and which parts of my life I was allowed to retrieve upon request. I take a photograph of the keypad and go upstairs. The next morning, North Coast Financial tells me the receiving bank has restricted the remaining balance while both institutions review the transfer. Restricted does not mean returned. It does not mean I will have the money by my deadline. The representative repeats that the recognized device and successful verification complicate my claim. How long? I ask. 30 to 45 days is typical. I have 9. I'm sorry. She sounds as though she means it, which almost makes things worse. At work, May helps me redirect my paycheck without making me explain. She also gives me the name of the attorney who handled her divorce. She's not magical, May says. She's expensive, she interrupts, and she has a terrifying collection of ceramic frogs. Strong recommendation. She got me to stop confusing an agreement with a hope. The attorney's name is Elena Brooks. Her office smells like lemon cleaner, and there are indeed frogs everywhere. A green one holds business cards. A fat blue one sits beside the tissue box. Elena listens without interrupting, despite May's warning. Then she asks to see the transfer receipt, Diane's message, the acknowledgement letter, and the joint account statement. You preserve the originals? Yes. Good. Do you intend to remain in the home? I don't know. Do you intend to remain married? The question lands with embarrassing force. I don't know. That's an acceptable answer today. She taps the joint statement. Redirect your income. Continue paying necessary shared obligations in a traceable way. Don't drain accounts, destroy anything, or lock him out. Don't sign documents because someone promises to fix things afterward. What about the money? The bank investigates. We document. If the institutions don't resolve it, other options take longer and cost more. There is no button I press that puts $78,000 back by Friday. I figured. People usually haven't. She tells me to retrieve copies of our tax records and property documents if I can do so safely. When I explain the office lock, she removes her glasses. He installed it after the dispute? Yes. Photograph it. I did. For the first time, she smiles. May sends me the teachable ones. I pay $400 for the consultation from the new checking account I opened that morning. Owen is cooking when I return home. He makes chili when he wants the house to smell forgiving. Garlic, cumin, canned tomatoes, the expensive ground beef he complains about buying. A bowl waits at my place. I put sour cream in the fridge, he says. I hang my coat without answering. Are you hungry? I met with an attorney. The wooden spoon stops against the pot. Why? Because you transferred my savings, emptied our account, and locked me out of a room in my own house. I moved funds into accounts you can't attack every time you're angry. My attorney says to ask you once, in writing, for access to our financial and property records. Your attorney. Yes. He turns off the burner. You've known about this for 2 days. That was enough time for you to install a lock. I was protecting confidential business information. You run a residential contracting company out of our 3rd bedroom, Owen. You're not guarding launch codes. His mouth twitches despite himself. For half a second, we are the people who used to make each other laugh. Then he sets the spoon down. There's a way out of this, he says. The townhouse has enough equity for a line of credit. We could fund your buy-in from that, then pay it down when Mom refinances. I stare at him. You already looked into it. I called our mortgage broker. When? This afternoon. And you'd agree to the line? If you withdraw the fraud complaint and sign the acknowledgement. He says it gently. That is what makes the offer dangerous. I picture May telling Tessa the wire is coming. I picture my signature on the partnership documents, my name on the insurance certificate, a cupcake under a plastic dome in the break room. Owen mistakes my silence for negotiation. It fixes everything, he says. You make your deadline. Mom keeps the contractors moving. The bank sees a normal family transaction instead of whatever story they think they're looking at. We put our house at risk to replace money you took from me. We use one asset to support another, your mother's asset, our eventual asset, yours. Why are you determined to make me your enemy? The chili bubbles softly behind him. You made the line conditional, I say. That answers your question. I go upstairs without eating. He leaves the bowl on the table until morning. By then, a dark skin has formed over the top. The consequences at Hale House arrive in small, practical failures. Brenner Electric emails me about a sconce schedule. I reply that I am no longer involved and copy Owen and Diane. The flooring supplier calls to confirm a layout change Diane says I approved. I say I did not. A county inspector asks whether I will attend the final walkthrough. I remove my name from the calendar invitation. Nothing collapses, it simply stops moving easily. Owen hires a consultant to rebuild the lender projections. She charges $4,800 and refuses to use my booking assumptions without market data. The ballroom inspection is postponed because the electrical drawings and installed fixtures do not match. Diane calls 3 times. I let each call go to voicemail. Her messages change in tone. The first says, there seems to be confusion about the sconces. The second says, the electrician claims you withdrew approval for a plan you created. The third says, Claire, whatever happens between you and Owen, professionals finish their work. I save all 3. Owen begins coming home after 10. He sleeps in the guest room, showers before dawn, and leaves coffee in the pot for me. Once he replaces the windshield fluid in my car. Another night, I find the loose bathroom drawer repaired. His kindnesses feel worse than his anger because they are real. Owen has always noticed a rattling hinge. He has always remembered how I take coffee. The man who stole my savings is not hidden behind the man who fixes drawers. They are the same man, and he sees no contradiction. 3 days before the partnership deadline, the firm grants me an extension of 1 week. Owen hears me tell May on the phone. That evening, he places the home equity application beside my plate. We can still do this, he says. The acknowledgement letter is clipped behind it. I read the line stating I make no claim for repayment. What if the venue fails? It won't. What if your mother never sells the acreage? She will. What if we divorce? His eyes lift. Is that what you want? I asked what happens. He pulls out the chair across from me. You keep half the townhouse. We deal with Hale House as a marital investment. I'm not an owner. You're my wife. That hasn't protected me so far. He leans back. You're willing to lose a partnership over a technicality. Consent isn't a technicality. It is when you use the word to avoid every practical solution. I put the papers back on the table. No. He looks at me for a long time. All right, he says, but when that deadline passes, don't tell people I took this from you. The extension passes on a Thursday at 5. Tessa Keene closes the conference room door and tells me the partnership committee has voted to offer the position to Garrett. He can fund immediately, she says. The firm can't leave the allocation open indefinitely. I understand. This doesn't change your role as project lead. It changes how decisions move around me. But saying that would make Tessa defend the decision, and I don't want to hear her do it. We can reconsider you in the next cycle, she adds. When is that? Possibly 18 months. Possibly. May waits outside with the plastic goose. The paper crown is gone. She sets it beside my keyboard. I'm sorry, she says. I press my thumb against the tiny ridge of its wing. I thought I'd feel angrier. You look angry. I feel empty. That comes first sometimes. At home, Owen has bought flowers. White tulips sit in a pitcher because he could not find the vase. The vase is in the locked office on the shelf behind our tax files. I heard, he says. I set down my bag. From who? I knew the deadline. Of course he did. I'm sorry. I touch one tulip. Its stem has bent under the weight of the flower. You could have fixed it, I say. So could you. I look at him. He says it without cruelty. That is the closest he comes to telling the truth about himself. He believes my refusal to surrender is equally responsible for what surrender would have prevented. I'm going to bed, I say. Claire, I stop on the stairs. We can try again next year. I keep walking. The next afternoon, Diane calls from a number I don't recognize. Don't hang up, she says. I'm at work. Owen wants me to sign something. I wait. He says it's for the bank investigation, an affidavit stating you authorized the transfer verbally through me. Did I? No. Then don't sign it. He says this is because I misunderstood what you agreed to, that he transferred the money at my request and believed I had discussed it with you. The careful sentences from Diane's first message return to me. I won't be blamed for what he did. He's making you responsible, I say. He is trying to protect the refinance. He's trying to protect himself. A car horn sounds near her. She lowers her voice. I need to show you something, not at the townhouse. We meet at Hale House just before dusk. The ballroom windows are uncovered and cold blue light lies across the unfinished floor. Half the sconces are mounted. The others rest in open boxes under the windows like gold branches. Diane waits in the catering kitchen wearing her wool coat. She has a manila folder and a paper coffee cup she never drinks from. I stopped the flooring payment, she says. The bank restricted the rest before I could return it. You could have returned it the night you sent the receipt. Yes. She does not decorate the answer. Diane opens the folder. Inside is the draft affidavit with her name beneath the signature line. Paragraph 4 says she represented to Owen that I had agreed to contribute household savings. Paragraph 5 says Owen relied on her representation in good faith. He emailed this to me, she says. Then he left voice messages when I refused. She plays them. Owen's voice fills the empty kitchen. Mom, this isn't complicated. You told me Claire would understand. You were the one pushing to get the invoices paid. Just sign it so we can clean up the confusion. The next message is colder. If this turns into an unauthorized transfer case, they're going to ask who benefited and who requested the money. I'm trying to keep this from becoming your problem. Diane stops the recording. There's one more thing, she says. From the folder, she removes a second receipt. 2 hours after my savings reached Hale House member capital, Owen transferred $9,000 from that account to Hale Residential Operating. The memo read, Project Management Reimbursement. He said those were expenses he had already covered, Diane says. Were they? Not for Hale House. For the first time since this began, her composure gives way, not into tears, into disgust. He was going to let me sign that, she says. Then if anyone examined the account, he would say I paid his company. You did pay his company. He did, using my login. The distinction matters to her now. I photograph every page, then email the originals to myself while she watches. What are you going to do? Diane asks. I don't know yet. The showcase dinner is Tuesday. The lender is coming. Owen says if you sign there, they can close Friday. And you believe I'll sign? No, she says, but Owen does. She puts the receipts back into the folder and slides it across the steel counter to me. This time, when she gives me evidence against her son, her hand is shaking. Diane notices me looking at her hand and grips the edge of the counter. "Don't mistake this for an apology," she says. "I won't. I believed he would repay you." "With what?" "The refinance, bookings, the acreage, all the same money he already promised me." Her mouth presses into a flat line. "I wanted Hale House to work." "So did I." "You withdrew the moment it became difficult. I withdrew the moment you spent my savings." She looks past me into the ballroom where the late light catches every streak on the uncovered windows. "I thought if the place opened the way we got there would matter less." That's what Owen thinks about our marriage. Diane picks up her untouched coffee. Perhaps that's where he learned it. It is the nearest she comes to accepting responsibility. Elena sends the receipts, voice messages, and draft affidavit to North Coast Financial the next morning. She also sends a notice to Owen and Diane directing them to preserve every record connected to the transfer. Nothing in her letters sounds dramatic. She uses phrases like disputed funds, contemporaneous communication, and adverse financial interest. Owen calls before I finish reading my copy. "You went through my mother. She came to me. You recorded private messages. She gave me messages you left on her phone. She doesn't understand what that affidavit says. She understands whose name is under the signature line." He goes quiet. "Did you move $9,000 into Hale Residential?" I ask. "That was reimbursement." "For what?" "Project management." Diane says it wasn't. Mom has never understood a balance sheet. She understands being blamed. His breath changes against the phone. "You're enjoying this," he says. "No." "You finally have everyone lined up the way you want. Me on one side, Mom on the other, you in the middle holding the paperwork. I wanted to be at my desk signing partnership documents today. He has no answer for that. When I get home, the pitcher of tulips is gone. The dining table is clean except for a small pile of my mail. Owen has moved his clothes into the guest room closet. I place a copy of Elena's proposed separation terms on the table. He walks in while I'm making toast. He sees the envelope, reads the return address, and does not touch it. "What's that?" "What you think it is." "You filed for divorce?" "It's a proposal. Separate accounts, temporary use of the house, access to records, no new borrowing against the property." "You had this drafted before you talked to me." "I've done a lot of talking." He pulls out a chair and sits. "The showcase is Tuesday," he says. "I know. The lender's attending. So are 3 corporate planners and North Shore events." "Good." Mom has agreed to sell part of the operating business to North Shore. It gives her another source of cash. If the refinance closes, we can put $40,000 back in your account immediately. Not 78. The rest comes from bookings. I'm not signing the acknowledgement. "Then why did you say good?" "Because I want Diane's dinner to go well. I don't want to own it." He studies me as if this answer is a trick. "You could come," he says. "See the place finished. Talk to the lender directly. No lawyers." "My lawyer will be available by phone." His expression closes. Of course she will. The ballroom is warm on Tuesday evening for the first time since the renovation began. The sconces are finally installed, though 2 on the east wall sit half an inch lower than the others. I notice immediately and wish I didn't. Round tables stand beneath the old beams with cream linens, smoked water glasses, and Diane's 6th choice of flatware. North Shore Events has set up a tasting menu in the catering kitchen. Staff move through the rooms carrying trays of pear tartlets and little cups of soup. Diane wears dark green and greets each guest at the front door. She has always known how to make attention feel like hospitality. When she sees me, she pauses for less than a second. "You came." "Owen invited me." Her gaze drops to the leather folder under my arm. "Yes," she says. "He did." Owen finds me near the staircase. His suit fits badly at the shoulders because he has lost weight. "You look nice," he says. "So do you." It is something married people say when they can no longer safely say anything larger. "The lender is in the library," he says. I thought we could sit down after the first course. I'd rather do it now. He glances toward the ballroom. We have guests. This doesn't involve them. The lender, Martin Keller, is standing beside a tray of untouched drinks when we enter the library. I have met him twice on video calls. In person, he is smaller and more tired-looking. Diane follows us and shuts the door. Martin motions toward 4 chairs around a low table. I understand there have been developments. That's one word for it, I say. Owen sits beside me. Claire has had concerns about how the contribution was documented. We're here to resolve those. I open my folder. The original transfer receipt is first. Beneath it is the second receipt to Hale Residential, Diane's message, the draft affidavit, and transcripts of Owen's voice messages. Martin does not touch them yet. Mrs. Hale, my compliance department has reviewed the material your attorney provided, he says to me. Until the source and authorization of those funds are resolved, we cannot count them toward borrower equity. They're marital funds, Owen says. I had authorized access. My account was individually titled Claire. Martin raises one hand. Account ownership is one issue. Consent is another. We aren't adjudicating either tonight. The money is already invested, Owen says. Brenner was paid. Work was completed. The value is in the building. That does not establish an acceptable source of equity. I slide the acknowledgement letter across the table. I won't sign this. Owen looks at me rather than the paper. What will you sign? A statement that I did not authorize the transfer. A repayment agreement for every dollar spent or moved. Separation terms protecting the townhouse from new debt. You came here to negotiate our divorce with a bank officer? I came because you told him my signature was the last condition. Diane sits very straight in her chair. Martin turns to her. Mrs. Diane Hale, your counsel indicated you might provide clarification regarding the original transfer. I don't have counsel. Your written statement then. Owen leans forward. Mom, you don't need to say anything until we've discussed it. We have discussed it, she says. Not with anyone representing your interests. You mean your interests? His face reddens. Everything I've done has been to keep this house from being taken from you. You took Claire's money to save your property, and then you paid your company. I reimburse legitimate expenses. You told me to sign a paper saying the transfer was my idea. I told you to confirm what happened. Diane reaches into her handbag and removes 2 folded pages. What happened, she says, is that you told me Claire had agreed. I accepted the money because I wanted to believe you. When I heard you tell her at dinner that her money belonged to you, I understood she had not agreed. Owen looks at her with open disbelief. You're choosing her? Diane's fingers tighten around the pages. I'm choosing not to sign a lie. Without the refinance, you lose the house. Then I sell it. The words seem to alter the room's pressure. Beyond the closed door, silverware touches china. Someone laughs in the ballroom. You'd sell Hale House to protect her? Owen asks. I'd sell it because you made it impossible to keep. I made this place possible. Diane looks toward me. No, she says. We used Claire to make it possible. She gives Martin her signed statement. Owen stands so quickly his knee strikes the table. One of the glasses tips. Water spreads across the wood and soaks the corner of his acknowledgement letter. You think North Shore will buy after this? He asked Diane. You think anyone out there wants a venue tied up in a fraud investigation? They want the property, she says. They don't need the story. He looks at me. There are a dozen things I expect him to say. That I betrayed him, that I ruined his mother, that I care more about money than family. Instead, he says, you knew I would never let her lose this house. It is the first honest sentence he has offered me in weeks. Yes, I say, that's why you knew I'd have to lose. He leaves through the library's side door. Diane reaches for a napkin and blots the water from the table. Her hand is steady again. Martin collects her statement and closes his folder. There will be no closing Friday, he says. North Shore makes an offer for the property 9 days later. It is lower than Diane wants and high enough to clear the mortgage, outstanding contractor obligations, and my repayment claim. Elena reviews the agreement and finds several clauses she dislikes. North Shore's attorney dislikes her changes. They spend 3 weeks arguing over language, while Diane calls me only when a number requires confirmation. She does not ask me to forgive her. I do not ask whether she misses Owen. North Coast returns the restricted portion of the transfer after Diane's statement is verified. Hale Residential returns the $9,000 in 2 payments. The remaining amount comes from the sale of Hale House. On closing day, Diane sends me the wire confirmation with 1 sentence. The account is settled in full. It isn't. There are attorney fees, lost interest, and a partnership position that belongs to Garrett now. But the money is back, so I reply, received. Diane rents a 2-bedroom condo 12 miles from Hale House. North Shore keeps the name for its first season, then changes it. Owen and I sell the townhouse because neither of us can afford to buy out the other without borrowing more. He contests the separation terms, then stops after Elena obtains the account records from the home office. The records do not contain another dramatic secret. They show something more ordinary. Late deposits, unpaid bills, and a company that had depended on my salary and unpaid bookkeeping to appear healthier than it was. Without that support, Hale Residential lasts 5 more months. Owen sells his equipment to another contractor and takes a salaried project management job. The last evening in the townhouse, we stand in the empty glass foyer while rain taps the panes. The movers have left the blue bowl on the console because neither box was labeled for it. Owen picks it up. "I remember buying this," he says. "So do I." "We couldn't afford it." "No." He turns it in his hands. The tiny bubbles around the rim catch the gray light. "You should take it," he says. "You always liked it more." "That isn't true." He sets the bowl down. "Maybe I liked what it meant." I wait. He looks through the glass toward the wet street. "I thought being married meant you'd come around." "To what?" "Whatever had to be done." "And you decided what had to be done." He nods once. It is not an apology. It is enough truth to end on. Months later, Tessa offers me leadership of a small restoration division at Keene Row. There is no ownership share attached. There is a cramped office, a limited budget, and 3 neglected projects nobody else wants. I accept before she finishes describing the second one. My new apartment has a narrow entryway and 1 crooked window. The blue glass bowl fits on a table beside the door. The first night, I come home late from measuring an old theater downtown. I lock the deadbolt and drop my new key into the bowl. The glass rings once in the quiet apartment. This time, it is only my key, and I am home.